it was just the money was stolen. The money was stolen, and you'll call up the politician and say, "I heard the Social Security current benefit amount, obviously adjusted for COLA, but then your 87th check is going to be cut by 23%, and that's guaranteed. It might be sooner, might be a few months later, might be 25%, 30%, it might be 20%, but it's around those numbers. It depends what we do going forward. And the problem is we aren't doing anything to solve it. We haven't done anything in 40 years. Our politicians on both sides, people keep complaining, hey, how come you always attack the current president? Well, because he's the current president. I attacked the previous president, Biden. For the past 40 years, politicians on both sides, Republican, Democrat, left, right, liberal, conservative, they haven't done anything to solve the issue of Social Security and to make sure the cuts are not going to happen in the future. None of them have done anything substantially to do it. Why? Because we haven't made them. I did a video a few days ago was talk about the Epstein files, and it's like, oh my gosh, the politicians finally got together, unanimously decided to actually do something. Oh my gosh, politicians can actually do something, except for one guy. So that proves that with the right incentives, AKA their jobs, they are able to do something. But for 40 years, we have not made them fix Social Security. And one of the main reasons we haven't is because we keep falling for all their lies and their distractions. And one of the big ones is, well, everything is good. It was just the money was stolen. The money was stolen, and you'll call up the politician and say, I heard the Social Security trustees and the Congressional Budget Office and the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget all agree that everybody that receives Social Security is going to get cut by 20, 23, 24, 25% in a few years. Is that true? Yes, that is 100% true if we don't do anything. Okay, why don't we do something? And then the politicians will say, well, you know what the deal is? The money was stolen. Or it was given to undocumented immigrants, which I talked about a while ago, that Social Security, you cannot get benefits if you're undocumented. I know because I've taken hundreds of thousands of claims when I worked at Social Security. You have to provide your legal status in the United States, citizenship, green card, needs to be checked through the SAVE system. There's so many different ways to stop. Do one or two people, slip through the system every now and then? Yes, they get caught. A lot of people are working under fake Social Security numbers that are not in the country legally, but they are paying into Social Security. And a lot of people that just, get cash. But anyway, I've talked about that several times, but today let's talk about that myth, that internet myth about all of the money that was stolen. And all you have to do is look at the Social Security. The trustees do a report every single year, and they do an audit, and all you have to do is read it every year. And this is the brand new one that came out. And it said, let me make this smaller so we can see it here. This is also a live Q&A. So as soon as we finish, we will get into the live Q&A. And we've also got a really, really good story. Our awesome community, another success. We just found an extra $2,000 a month for one of our viewers because of y'all, because you shared, liked, subscribed, did all that stuff. And someone was able to see one of our videos. And they said, oh my gosh, I didn't know I could get those benefits. And they called Social Security and they got their first check. They were getting $1,500. Now they've got some more. So it's a beautiful thing. That's because of y'all. All right. So the Social Security, this is the Social Security Trustees report. Every year they come out with this report. So this is for 2024. And I'm also going to talk about where this all started. The whole internet myth, well, started before the internet. The myth started during the LBJ, the Johnson administration, in the late 60s because of the Vietnam War. But in terms of money being stolen, it's not stolen. It's all there. As we used to say in the Marine Corps, all present or accounted for. All present and or accounted for. Using a lot louder voice, but I'll tone myself back a little bit. So in 2023, at the end of 2023, we had old age and survivors insurance. We had $2.6 trillion in the bank. In treasury funds. Yes, those are treasury funds. By law, they have to buy special issue treasury bonds They can't put it in a, chock full of canned nuts, or give it to Bank of America or anything like that. They have to put it in the safest investment in the world. It is the safest investment in the world. All countries, Warren Buffett, your 401k, your thrift savings plan, or whatever, you probably have something treasury bills. And so that's the safest investment in the world. Interest rates are not great, but that's, comes with safety. So we got 2.6 trillion. And then income for 2024 was FICA taxes came 1.1 trillion came in. There's the key right there. They always say follow the money, right? The key for all of this is to follow the money. Why do politicians don't want to fix Social Security? Why do they want it to go away? Because they want to give that money to Wall Street, their buddies at Wall Street. And why do they want to give that money to their buddies at Wall Street? What does Wall Street want? Well, obviously, they want that $1.2 trillion coming in every year through FICA taxes. When you pay your FICA taxes, they want that money to be invested with them so they can make commissions, so they can do the old heads I win, tails you lose type stuff. When they make a lot of money for us, they take huge commissions. And when they lose a lot of money for us, then they still get their commissions. So, yeah. It's like a scene at Eddie Murphy in Trading Places. But anyway, so $1.1 trillion comes in a FICA. And guess what? $63 billion interest. Interest? What do you mean interest? Well, yeah, when you put your money into a bank, they give you interest. Not much, but they give you interest. Same thing. When we put money into these treasury bills, we get interest. And we get that money paid back, and we'll get to that here in a second. And then there's also taxation of benefits. So when people, about 40 to 50% of the lower income people do not pay taxes on Social Security. The president keeps saying that there's no taxes on Social Security based on the one big beautiful bill. That is 100% incorrect. He just added a deduction in there, but if you have to pay taxes on Social Security, you have to pay taxes on Social Security. But that's where that money comes from. If you pay taxes on Social Security, it goes to the IRS, and the IRS hands it over to the Social Security, and Social Security puts it in the trust fund. So $54 billion go into the trust fund from people paying taxes on Social Security. Okay, which I believe people shouldn't have to pay taxes on Social Security, but that's a whole different issue. All right.
I studied the 10 most powerful empires over the last 500 years and the last 3 reserve currencies. It took.
All right, so that's how much came in 2024. How much went out? Well, benefit payments, $1.3 trillion went out, and then 4.9 administrative expenses, which is super, super small. If they privatize Social Security, that's going to be probably the CEO of, Social Security Advantage plan. That's probably going to be his or her yearly salary. And then, the administrative expenses, if we decide to privatize Social Security, is probably going to be 10, 50 times that. Anyway, and then there's also this railroad thing that I won't get into. Railroad has a separate thingy. But anyway, so this is how much went out. Total cost, 1.32. Total incomes, 1.22. Do the math. More went out than came in. More went out. So what's going to cover that gap? The trust fund. The trust fund. So right there, the reserve, net change in reserves. We had 2.6. We paid out more than what we got in. So we had to dip into our savings, AKA the trust fund. We had to cash in some of those treasury bills. And we cashed in $103 billion. So if you received a Social Security check in 2024, if you're receiving a Social Security check right now, about 10% of your Social Security check comes from that trust fund that supposedly has been stolen. It ain't stolen because you're getting 10%. And people think, oh, it's all fake money. All money is digital nowadays. So I guess in one respect, it's all fake money, right? But if you're getting a check, 10% of that is from the trust fund. And if you believe the trust fund is fake money, it's all, empty IOUs, then put your money where your mouth is. I always say, take 10% of your Social Security check and give it away, because you don't think that's real money. Give it to the local animal shelter or the homeless shelter or whoever you want to give it to. Give 10% and then send us a Send us a receipt. Email us a receipt. Come on here in one of our live Q&As and show, okay, I don't believe that money is real money, so I put my money where my mouth is, and I gave up 10% because it's not real money. Those people will enjoy that money because they believe it's real money. So this is where this money actually is. It is there, and one of the reason this myth started is LBJ getting into the Vietnam War, and he was trying to hide the costs of the Vietnam War. So in order to do that, had to play an accounting trick. Up until that time, you had two different budgets. You had the regular full government budget, and then you had a Social Security budget, the Social Security money, the Social Security pool. And at that time, the Social Security pool had a whole bunch of extra money on it. So he had this genius idea of saying, well, this one has a whole bunch of debt, and this one has a whole bunch of extra money. If we consolidate those two into a unified budget, it'll look like the debt is less, and then people won't catch on how much we're spending on the Vietnam War. So it was just an accounting trick. It wasn't stolen. They just, it's kind of like, well, in our house here, we got a lot of debt, but the next door neighbors, they're really rich. Let's go ahead and unify the budget. So we'll add theirs in there. We're not stealing for them or anything, it's still a separate house, but we're just kind of playing accounting games. And it's like, so that's the situation. It was just a unified budget, and the money wasn't stolen or anything like that. The money is going out. The reason the money is the budget is decreasing every year, the reason why we're going to be getting a 23% cut in a few years is because so much money is no longer paying into Social Security. This is the key to all of it right here. It's not because we're having less babies or anything like that. That could be one solution, but the other solution is the reason the regular people aren't paying that much into Social Security is because we're not making that much money. This bottom blue line here is basically our average real wages adjusted for inflation since the 1980s. It's pretty much stayed stagnant. Our productivity has gone up. So when productivity goes up, we produce more stuff. You figure we make more money. No, hasn't happened. Productivity goes up. Who's making all the money? Guess what? The top 10%. And they don't pay into Social Security like we do. They pay Social Security tax, the FICA tax, up to $176,100. After that, they no longer pay Social Security FICA tax. So if we were making that money, then Social Security would be around, we wouldn't get a cut for another 75 years at least. But the reason is it's because the money is going to the top. They're not paying Social Security. If it was going to us, we'd pay Social Security and Social Security would be good, but it ain't. So that's, hopefully we've put that particular one to bed. The money isn't stolen, wasn't stolen. It's there. It's just running out, just like with any savings program. So we need to do something to fix it, to make sure. In order to do that, we have to be serious. And when politicians start telling us all this BS about, oh yeah, it was stolen, I'm still looking for it. They've been looking for it for 20 years. And they say, oh yeah, it was stolen, I'm looking for it. As soon as I find it, I'll make sure they put it back into the trust fund and you won't get a cut. So, just hold on. I'm close to it. I've got my Sherlock Holmes hat and I'm still looking for it, but they never seem to find it because it wasn't stolen. So. All right, let's get into some live Q&As, and then we've got some video questions as well. So if you need help on all things Social Security, retirement, survivor benefits, spouse benefits, Medicare, Medicaid, this is the place. All right, Paul asks, I was informed that although my current PPO insurance has been terminated, a supplemental Plan G premium would be approximately $1,900 a month. I'm 59, is that correct? Yeah, that sounds probably correct for you because you are in a state that does not mandate those Medicare companies, the Medicare supplement plan, to offer. Well, actually, you're in one of the states that's a little bit lucky. So there are certain states that said, okay, you have to provide a Medicare supplement plan to anybody, even those people under 65. As you know, they have to be on Medicare Part A and Part B. So There's just a few states that do that. And there's other states that says, okay, you have to offer Medicare supplement plans to people under 65, but we don't care which plans you offer and how much you charge. That's no big deal. You're in one of those states. And then there's other states that said, yeah, you don't have to offer them. So if you were in another state, you wouldn't even be able to get a Plan G or a Plan N or any Medicare supplement because you're under the age of 65. So you're in one of those middle states where they say, oh yeah, we'll let you get it, but we're going to charge you, $24,000 a year. So I'm sure that's out of your wheelhouse because you're receiving SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance. And there's about 1 million people that have had their PPO plans changed, and because have terminated, because they've had their PPO plans terminated, you probably got that letter that says you now have a guaranteed issue. You can get a Plan G or a Plan F if you were eligible for Part B prior to January 1st, 2020. But you're able to get a Plan G without any health underwriting, so they cannot deny you. But the problem is they can charge you whatever they want because that's how your state politicians have decided. This particular issue is a state issue. If you can't swing the 1900, which, now you know how all those people in the Affordable Care Act, are feeling right now. They're just, in your particular case, you can just go ahead and get another Medicare Advantage plan. Find another Medicare Advantage plan in your area that gets your doctors and all that kind of stuff. If you're one of the millions of people out there that are on this type of boat that had their Affordable Care Act jacked up like that, 300 or 400%, then yeah, they're just going to refuse health coverage completely and roll the dice and hope for the best and make the emergency room their primary care physician, which is the worst possible system. And this is orchestrated when they got rid of the mandate, and they've been trying to, repeal and just cut it. And so the people that wanted to destroy the Affordable Care Act are doing a phenomenal job destroying it. It's unfortunate. So yeah, but there's one of the good things is once you turn 65, then if you still want a Medicare supplement plan at that time, then you can go ahead and get a Medicare supplement plan because you're getting it based on being 65 years old. So they cannot deny you at 65, and they cannot charge you that outrageous price. So ask, whoever you talk to, if you want to call chapter, to find a new Medicare Advantage plan, just say, hey, let's say if I was 65, how much it would have cost in my particular state? And they might say, oh, in your state, for right now, we still got, 6 years. But for right now, it costs $120. And you're like, oh, okay. Now I know, hopefully, what it's going to look like in a few years when you turn 65. So.
Smart founders know something most people miss. Get your domain name even if you're not ready to launch your business. With Wix, you can grab your...
So let's see what else we got here. I'm new. Welcome, Miss Wendy Lee. How are you? I'm new. So you're now part of the community. So that means you got to go out there and help as many people. And we're going to show one of our awesome success stories here in a sec. I'm new and I'm on Social Security Disability at 58. What is the average payment for this age group, and what can I expect for 2026 with Ticket to Work? I'm being told my cap is $11.60 per month. Why so low in this economy? Well, okay, that's a lot to unpack there. So you're on Social Security Disability. The average is, oh gosh, what is it for like $1,800 or so for disability benefits? Yeah, I think that's about the average for this year. All across the board, the average is about $1,900 a month for retirement, spouse benefits, survivor benefits, and everything. Okay, so what can you expect with Ticket to Work? Ticket to Work, the trial work period for next year is $1,210. And that's not a cap. That's not a cap. Okay, you're confusing, which everybody does. It's confusing. You're confusing the trial work period trigger amount with the substantial gainful activity. Okay, that's a cap. The trial work period is $1,210. So that means if in 2026 you work and you make under $1,210, you can do that all year. No issues whatsoever. None. Done. Easy. Piece of cake. Work, make under $1,210 per month. No issues whatsoever. Once you hit the $1,210, that triggers the trial work period, and you have 9 months to earn as much as you want. So for 9 months, you can make $1 billion a month for 9 months. And that's the trial work period. This is what Congress set up. And they said, hey, we want people that are on disability to go back to work to see if they're able to go back to work. So we're going to provide these trial work period so they can try to go back to work. And if they go back to work, making $1 billion a month, then they're, or $2,000 a month or $3,000 a month or whatever the case may be, then, we'll kick them off Social Security, but, they'll want to be off Social Security and avoid the overpayments. And, it'll be better for them. They make more money. It's better for the trust fund. When do you get to pay taxes? Yay. So it's good for everybody when you get off of disability benefits. So it's again, the trial work period, and you can go onto my website, mygovexpert.com, and I've got all of the gory details about that. Let me go ahead and pull up my website here so you can see it. So you just go on to, we've got 2 websites, mygovexpert.com, which has all the details about everything. So you click on Social Security, click on disability there, and then you click on working and benefits, and it gives you a guide there that tells you the difference. I think it's in easier English to understand than SSA.gov, but it talks about the trial work period, the extended period of eligibility, and all the rest of it. So please check that out. And the other website is 24help.org. And that's the website that y'all use to talk to each other, help each other out, answer each other's questions, give moral support, because all those other discussion groups out there, Reddit and Facebook, they're just so nasty and incorrect. And so we decided to start something else. Okay, let me show you our awesome... someone sent me this email, so I cut and pasted it from an email. So this comes from Phoenix M. Thank you so much for all you're doing to help. I want to let you know how much you helped me. Again, this is a community effort. I'm just some guy who's done this millions of times making these videos. But if nobody watches them, it doesn't help anybody. And if y'all don't share them, it doesn't help anybody. So someone out there, someone pressed subscribe or shared to Phoenix or liked, and the algorithm did whatever. And then Phoenix was sitting in her living room drinking her coffee, and all of a sudden this mug shows up, which is it's always a scary thing, I'm sure. But anyway, I show up and I start talking about benefits here. And she's like, oh, okay, what does this idiot have to say? So she was patient for a few minutes and listened to me, and then she's, oh my gosh, that applies to me. So it was y'all that helped this young lady out. So after hearing you discuss about getting benefits from divorced spouse that had passed away, I applied and it was just authorized. I have been on SSDI for several years. Remember, I did a video on this yesterday that people who are receiving disability benefits don't realize they can get these other benefits. And my current benefit was a bit over $1,000 per month. As you can imagine, this has been a huge financial struggle for many years. But because of you sharing this information, I will be receiving the additional benefit. So now my monthly benefit total will be just over $3,000 a month. So she got $2,000 extra because of y'all. Yes, an additional $2,000 per month. My ex-husband passed away in 2021, so I missed out on that benefit for several years. So that's my fault. I should have started doing these videos. I should have retired from Social Security, taken that early retirement from Social Security earlier, and started doing these videos earlier. So that's on me. So anyway, but thanks to you, I just received my first month's benefit. Thank you, Dr. Ware. I pray Lord bless you in a mighty way. You have been such a huge blessing through your videos. I cannot thank you enough for the new financial security I am now getting as a direct result of you sharing the information on your channel. Blessings, Phoenix M. So congratulations, team. Y'all are doing it again. So thank you. Again, I couldn't do this. We couldn't help people unless y'all help. So yes. Good luck talking to Social Security. They never answer the phones. Yeah. And that is a conscious decision. Why don't they answer the phone? Because the politicians refuse to provide them resources to answer the phone. And I've got my little, let me pull up my chart here. And this is not a new thing. It's definitely got 10 times worse under Doge, which is now disbanded, but they've already done their damage. And they said, well, we already blew up that house. We burned down that house. It's time for us to go. But this has happened even before Doge and Elon Musk and the current administration. The Social Security staff was at a 50-year low. And then Doge happened, and it's even worse now. And yeah, and that's the point. That's the goal. That is the goal. People think that, you know, it's a bug in the system. No, that's the system. That is the goal, is to make it the customer service so terrible at Social Security and Medicaid and food stamps and every place else that you will just hate the government, hate government employees because you're going to shoot the messenger. Don't, anyway. And then you don't realize that the reason is politicians don't want the government to succeed. They don't want to provide customer service because they want to privatize it. So, question, in consideration of the 13% reduction, 23% reduction, after 86 more checks, those who took retirement early would voluntarily suspend till age 70 still be advantaged at this point?
Spreadsheets killed my sales.
Wait, just try Pipedrive.
Discover Pipedrive Sales CRM.
A diagnosis doesn't define you. Even ATTR cardiac amyloidosis.
It really, nobody can tell you. There's so many videos out there that tell you that you're dumb if you apply for retirement benefits at 62. You're dumb if you apply at 67. You're dumb if you apply at 70. Nobody knows the future. We don't know what's going to happen today or tomorrow or how long we're going to live. The only time 100% I can tell you with 100% certainty when you should file is the day you shuffle off your mortal coil, the day you leave us. And then we can go back and say, oh yeah, you should have filed at 62, 100%, sir. You should have filed at 65. You should have filed at 70. That's the only day. That is the only day someone can tell you when you should have filed. But then it's too late. So what's the point, right? So you just make your best guess effort. But yeah, in considering, so the cut is going to be 23%. So maybe let's say 24%, because with the tariffs and everything, that's also going to cut into the trust fund because that raises the COLA and everything. But anyway, I've talked about that in other videos. So if you wait, what she's talking about is called delayed retirement credits. If you wait till after your full retirement age, so let's say your full retirement age is 67, and you wait to file your Social Security benefits until 70, you will get an 8% increase every year you wait. So that's 24%. So they'll cut your benefit and by 24%, but you won't gain anything, you won't lose anything, except for all those checks. So yeah, it really depends on your particular situation. Yeah. But if you pass away at 71, then that was a terrible decision. So it really depends on the particular situation. Tweety Bird, SSA COLA 2.8% increase, but Part P increase was a 9.7% increase. Who came out on the better end? Yeah. I'm going to do a video this week on Medicare for all. Yeah, because the Affordable Care Act, when it was originally written, it was written to where it was actually written by the Heritage Foundation. It was first Mitt Romney in Massachusetts, a Republican governor, and it was a Republican decision, a Republican plan and everything. And then Obama, oh my gosh, put his name on it. So therefore it's, the other side is against it. But the key to it is more people need to have health insurance, be paying into the system, just like car insurance, life insurance, all that. You have to have more people paying into it. It's a pooled risk. That's how insurance works. When you don't have that, of course, prices are going to go up. So we'll talk about Medicare for all, and that is an option. But yeah, $17.90 Part B went up. And there is a hold harmless provision. If your Social Security benefits only go up $10 next year, and you're having to pay $17.90 for Medicare, then Social Security has a hold harmless provision where they will discount your Medicare Part B, so you're not getting less. Someone left a video question. Let's go ahead and get into a few video questions. Let's see if I can find that video question on that particular issue. Here it is right here.
Dr. Weir, we just received our Social Security for 2026 after the new IRMAs and the and all that. And my wife and I are both getting less this year. And can we just appeal it for that reason, even if there's no mistake?
I think that.
My name is Mark Shapiro.
Okay. So yeah, he mentioned in there IRMA, but if you get your automatically generated letter from Social Security and says, okay, you're going to get less next year, or you're going to get this much, but we're going to take out this much because of the Medicare Part B, and you're going to actually lose money, then you'll probably receive another letter soon after that says, okay, we're going to discount your Part B. Those letters always confuse everybody, but that's essentially how it works. So this gentleman, him and his wife, got the IRMA. So making less for 2026 because he got that IRMA. And the IRMA is the income-related monthly adjustment amount. So if you go on to our website, mygovexpert.com, click on Medicare there, it has the IRMA details. And we're updating this for 2026, but IRMA is basically an extra higher premium high wage earners make. So if you have what's called a life-changing event, that your IRMA for 2026 is based on your earnings from 2024. So if something changed between now and 2024, you reduced your earnings, you stopped working, you got divorced, you lost the income generating property, things like that, then you can file an appeal, SSA 44. It's called a life-changing event. And if they determine that, yes, you had a life-changing event, a qualifying life-changing event, they will no longer charge you that IRMA. And if you've paid the IRMA since, they will refund that money. So that's always a beautiful thing. The last of the boomers turned 62 in 2026. Millennials are currently the largest generation. Yeah, 76 million Americans were born between 1946 and 1964. So yeah, a lot of boomers out there. But again, it's not necessarily demographics. In order to get more paid into Social Security, so we have more FICA tax, so we don't get the cuts, you can do it two ways. You can have twice as many kids, and so we'll have a larger population. You can have that way, or bring in more immigrants, or whatever the case may be. So you can have a larger population, or you could pay the people that live in America more. If we're the richest country in the history of the world, and people are working 40 hours a week, but they can't afford food, and you pay them more. And yes, if you pay people more, then they will have to pay more into FICA tax. So, but if you pay rich people more, people that make over $176,100, they just get more money and don't pay into FICA tax. So yeah, I was wondering, what if you're legally blind? What is the SGA? Oh, good question. The SGA for blind for next year is different. Thank you for asking that. It's $2,830. So for those people visually impaired, there's different numbers. A lot of Social Security has different numbers. One of the substantial gainful activity, those are for the people working while receiving disability benefits. So if you're blind, you have a higher substantial gainful activity that you're allowed to do. So Dawn Sunshine, the new law that allows civil servants like police and firefighters to get Social Security began. My ex is 73 and remarried. We were married 25 years. I'm disabled and never remarried. Social Security, I'm not. Okay, yeah, so that's the law that was passed by Biden, which I completely disagree with. It's called the Social Security Fairness Act. There's nothing fair about that. But anyway, 3% of the population get a higher replacement rate than the other 97%. Not sure why that's fair. The current president also supported it. It was passed by Congress. It's people that know the details of it disagree with it. Those who want the money, they want the money. So anyway. So if they don't allow civil servants like police, it's just the WEP, the windfall elimination provision, and the government pension offset no longer exists. So your benefits are calculated like you're poor, even though you're not. But if you were, so if your ex, if you're receiving benefits off your ex, then if his benefit was recalculated and increased and you're receiving benefits off his record, then your benefits will automatically be increased as well. So, and so if you are the person that was a civil servant, a government employee that worked in a non-covered entity, then your pension, your non-covered pension will not offset what you receive from your spouses. But it sounds like they checked and neither of those apply to you. So
it's the final game, folks. This one wins the series.
Struck out with the cheap seats? Important things aren't worth compromising. At Farmers, we offer both quality insurance and great savings. Here, take mine.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
The best gifts aren't just toys. They're moments. I can do it myself times. Watch me, milestones.
Scott, I just turned 62 and put in for my Social Security. Taking mine now. All right. Remember, a lot of people miss that. When you file for benefits at 62, only 62, you have to be 62 the entire month. So if you turn 62 today, November 25th, you can't get November's check. You have to be 62 the entire month. So the first month you're 62 the entire month. If today's your birthday, is December. And then your December check comes in January. So that's just how that works. So, SoCal Fishman, Semper Fi, just became a member to support Dr. Ed's platform. Best information I've ever come across. Looking forward to learning more and more every day. Thank you. I appreciate it. You're too awesome. Thank you. When you take Social Security, reach out to those, go out to the Semper Fi Club, the Marine Corps Club, and make sure you get all those old jarheads to make sure they're getting all the money they're eligible for and paid for. And if they need to file for Social Security disability and all that, tell them to check us out. When you take Social Security early at 62, remember you receive a 30% less than if you wait. Correct. Dr. Ed always says it's up to you when you take it. If you need the money, then file. Yeah, that's the number one consideration. Should I take it at 62? Well, do you need the money? And are you working? Because remember, if you file for benefits early, you're limited to the amount of money you can make. This year, it's the $23,400. Anything over that, Social Security holds back $1 for every $2 you go over. But if you're making under $23,400 and you need the money, then that's a slam dunk. Your longevity and your genes and your health and all that kind of stuff, it's kind of out the door. You need the money, you need the money. So welcome to the Weir Train. That's huge. So happy for Phoenix. Yeah, you helped change it. No, you helped. Yes. And we've got unbelievable. We've probably found hundreds of millions of dollars for people out there. Because you figure that's $2,000 extra per month, $24,000 to over 10 years. That's 200. That's $250,000 right there. So I know she's going to live for another 40 years. So that's $1 million right there. We found, y'all found, for someone out there that really needs that help. So, yes. I called Chapter today. They were awesome. Good deal. Good deal. Thank you for letting me know. If we recommend someone, we always keep an eye on them. When you ask these questions when you ask them questions that don't give straight, okay, I'm not sure. At least you could still do walk-ins without an appointment under Biden. Yeah, I mean, it's the Social Security just doesn't have the staff anymore, unfortunately. But remember, if it's a dire need type situation, I've talked about this several times, how to get past the guard. If you just lost your job and therefore you lost your health insurance and you need your Medicare to start, within the next week or so, then don't file online. Don't, set an appointment. You need your health insurance to start. So those are particular cases that you just need to go down there and help and get help. Thanks to the chainsaw guy, we're screwed who put him there. Yeah, I mean, that's what happens when you're the largest single donor to a presidential campaign. You can get any job you want and take a chainsaw to customer service for, yeah, anyway. I had a Social Security employee tell me one time not to go in the local office and make an appointment. Well, today I called to make an appointment. They said I could not talk to the person I needed to talk to. Yeah, it really depends on the situation. And yeah, and again, this is, don't blame Social Security. Social Security, they only do what politicians gave them, just like your local, restaurant, your breakfast diner. If the owner of that is being cheap and only hires one waitress and they have 100 customers waiting there for their pancakes, and you got one, are you going to yell at that waitress? No, it's the owner of the diner that has said, oh yeah, I don't want to pay anybody, so I'm just going to have that, so if it brings out your, pancakes cold, it doesn't, because she takes so long, then you can yell at her. Yeah, but it's the owner of the place, and it's the owner of Social Security is the politicians. They're the ones that are not hiring the waitresses. Yeah. Not sure why I went to a breakfast diner. My mother worked for a breakfast diner for all her life, so maybe that's why I went there. My son and daughter are on survivor benefits. My son, who turned 18 on the 24th, is having to file 1372 to continue his check. Yep. Will his sister check stay the same, or will she get more? Okay. So son and daughter on survivor benefits. So they're getting 75%, up to 75%. Depends on, there's called the family max there. The son is turning 18, so he'll continue to receive survivor child benefits until he graduates high school, and that's what that 1372. You take it down to the school, and they fill it out, and they say he will graduate, let's say May of 2026, and then his benefits will stop May of 2026. And then if the two kids their benefits were reduced because there's two kids, usually not with just two children. But if their benefits were reduced because of that family max, then if the son goes off, then the daughter will receive the full 75%. Okay. But if not, then the check will stay exactly the same. So, and remember that you can get those auxiliary child and care benefits. Here's a couple of things people forget. If you have children under the age of 16 or became disabled before the age of 22 receiving benefits from a parent because of retirement, disability, or deceased, then the other spouse can get what's called child and care benefits if they're taking care of the child under the age of 16 or became disabled before the age of 22. So a lot of people miss those benefits. And sometimes people don't get them because there's already a family max. Their maximum amount of benefits are being paid out. But when one child goes off, then that opens up that money for the parent with the child in care. So many people miss that and are missing money. So have you heard any new developments on SSI being cut off by Trump? SSI, supplemental security income? No, not necessarily cut off. They are doing a lot more reviews, CDRs, work CDRs. So there's going to be a lot more scrutiny, which is fine. But the trick is, this is the goal. It's, we're not cutting people off. We're just making sure we don't have any fraud, waste, and abuse. Those are the magic words politicians use nowadays. As soon as they say the words fraud, waste, and abuse, then everybody forgets what they do. So, oh, we're not cutting people off. We're just looking for fraud, waste, and abuse. Okay, that's fine. But in the process, they're cutting people off because they're making you jump through all these hoops and doing all these called redeterminations, RZs, limited issues, they're called. But they don't have the staff to do them correctly, do them on time. So, yeah, you just have to make sure you fight. And that's why we've got the other website, the 24help.org, to go in there and help each other out and join the discussion and teach each other tips, tricks, and secrets about navigating the bureaucracy. So
my energy bill dropped from $150 to $50 by doing this. My friends laughed at me when I spent $49 on a power saver device.
Bella, what's up, Bella? How we doing today? Remember, if you file for SSDI, there are over 100 medical conditions on the compassionate allowance listing. It can fast track your SSDI claim. Be sure to check that out if you need SSDI at some point. Yes, Bella is our resident expert on the compassionate allowance listing. She's always adding in there, which is an awesome thing. Compassionate allowance is, these are expedited cases. You hear all the time another internet myth that everybody's denied disability the first time. That's all BS. I think, a lot of lawyers say that, so you will pay them to hire them. But if I've taken hundreds of thousands of disability claims, and some of those approved the same exact day. The listing was on the compassionate allowance. The algorithm picked it up, and the person comes in or calls in. I take the appointment, and then I get an alert that it's been approved. And so you pay it, or walk in the office the next day and it's been approved, or within a week. So it happens all the time. But those are kind of bittersweet type things. That means those people have really, really, really terrible disabilities that are just a slam dunk approval. So we all have the right and should take the opportunity to call or write or both to our representatives and tell them to get on the ball and smash the cap. Exactly. Let's, I think we made our little, not showing up for some reason. All right, let me try to get my graphic to work here. Okay, my parents got their benefits for me, and I didn't live with them at that time, and it's on my record. Oh, okay, so yeah, that happens sometimes when you were young. You were eligible for benefits, and your parents were your representative payee, and so they were getting benefits for you, and you were living some other place. So what happens is when someone is appointed a representative payee like that for their child receiving benefits, those benefits are supposed to go for your welfare. So if they spend it for something else, then yeah, that's not good. Yeah. Someone told Trump we were the richest country in the world. Now he's building gold ballrooms, and us. Yeah. I mean, people are going to say, but it's not covered by taxpayer money. But the optics of it, the tale of two cities is when you're cutting off food stamps, you're deciding to spend hundreds of millions of dollars. I don't care whose money it is. A government official is thinking to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on a golden ballroom when millions of people are losing health insurance and they're cutting off food stamps and all that. That's just, could you imagine if some of the previous presidents had done that? Yeah. I'm 62 on SSDI. I'd like to just go on Social Security retirement benefits. Will my pay change? Yes, you'll get a 30% cut. So just stay on your disability benefits unless you want to work. So because disability, there's a lot of limitations on work. With retirement, early retirement, the limitations are fewer, and like 0.001% decide to do what you're thinking about doing simply because they want to go back and make more money. Yeah, just keep on keeping on. My son tried twice to get disability, blind one eye, but denied. Yeah, that's going to be a difficult one. As I was printing documents, I got a call from a private number. It was a bogus message about teaching me SNAP benefits processing. Yeah, that's the second or third time I've gotten something like that. Someone that, yeah, I think that's the new scam out there, teaching me how to get your SNAP benefits. Unless that's some federal or state, county agency that's doing that, helping. I'm not sure. Yeah. If anybody sees that again, we need to watch out for the scams like this. Yeah, get just to stay on the phone for another extra 5 seconds and say, okay, how exactly you're helping me and how much is it going to cost me, and then yeah, let me know. If Me Too 2022, if they told you that they're going to charge you, or in order to help you file for SNAP benefits, they're going to need a bunch of your information to go through the application, then that's what they're looking for. They're looking for your information. So we the people need to speak up in large numbers. We all need to tell them what we want and expect them to do their job. It's on us to be loud, often by writing and calling them. Yeah, that's why my regular viewers, I apologize. I sound like a broken record when I show this all the time, but we've ignored it essentially for 40 years. And for the last 86 months, I am going to show that, yeah, several times a week. I apologize for being a broken record. So, but yeah, we have to do something. So what I have a hard time with all the Social Security is my Social Security should always be mine. But when a spouse died, the other spouse should get theirs. So the income doesn't drop so much. He makes more than I do. Yeah, you're a spouse or a divorced spouse or whoever the case may be, getting benefits on your record does not affect your record at all. That's what, unfortunately, some people, they don't want to file for divorced spouse benefits because they think, and so it's okay, if I file for divorced spouse benefits, then my ex-spouse will have an issue, will get less money. Oh, sorry. My ex-spouse will receive less money, and then the ex-spouse's new spouse will receive X money, and then the new kids will receive less money, and all this other kind of stuff. And I don't want that nightmare. I don't want to cause them trouble. I don't want to make trouble for anybody, and da-da-da. It doesn't. It doesn't. Someone receiving benefits on your record does not affect your benefit amount at all. So let's.
With the Planet Fitness Black Card, you can bring a friend anytime and so much more when you join today. Get all the perks with the PF Black Card for $1 down and $24.99 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends Friday, December 5th.
Let's see here. I turned 62 today. Congratulations. Happy birthday. But starting Social Security in March, I get taxed at 22% due to my pension. Yeah, remember, you can do what's called the voluntary tax withholding. It's a little form, W4V, and you can get taxes taken out of your Social Security if you so choose, ahead of the game. Or if you just want to, let it roll over and do with, next April or, however you want to do it. But some people, what they do is they say, well, I'm going to pay tax on this, anyway. So rather than, getting a bill next year, I'll just go ahead and have them take taxes out of my Social Security in advance. And then, so that's the W4V, which you can actually do over the phone now. They just changed that last year. You can do it over the phone. And then you can get 7%, 15%, 22% or so. So however you want to do it. And the next question people ask, how many percent should I do? That's between you and your buddies at the IRS and your tax accountant. So, but you can adjust it every year. So if you get too much withheld, then you adjust it the following year. So Social Security has been doing a very good job from the start. This party in charge are literally killing all of us in every way possible. So much for the nerd for help. Yeah. Yeah, that's been I mean, Social Security done a phenomenal job for a long time, but it's always been, fewer resources. And that was the attempt in the 1980s. They tried under the George Bush, the son, to privatize Social Security, to start the privatization process. And the American people just slapped them, said, yeah, don't even try it. Yeah, we know what you're trying to do. Trying to give all that money to your buddies on Wall Street. Yeah, no, we're not buying it. And then they decided, okay, well, we can't do it outright. We can't do a frontal assault. So what do? We make everybody hate Social Security. We really destroy customer service. We make all these complex rules that people just get frustrated with, and they don't get help, and then people don't pick up the phone. And we just talk about the money stolen. All the money was given to undocumented immigrants. It was given to Ukraine. We stole all these crazy, stupid myths. And then here we are today. And they have done a phenomenal job. And we fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. So, except for our community here. So we need to spread out. And yeah. Social Security in California started appointments in December 2024. I know because I had to go in and drop off paperwork and put in a drop-off area and talk to the guard. Yeah, each office is different. Each office is different. My office, I never, in my particular office, if you walked in the door, if you got your big toe or little toe in the door before 4 o'clock, then we would see you that day. We would help you that day, period, end of story. But some offices, they were able to, based on their clientele and their location and different stuff like that, it says, oh, okay, if you came in, put your toe in the door at 4 o'clock, we need to get out of that, we need to close down. We don't have enough staff or whatever the case may be. And we need to set you up an appointment and stuff. So yeah, each office is a little bit different, but now across the board, it's crazy. I'm 61 and lost my job this year. I'm thinking to take survivor benefits, and I do not understand what's going to happen if I find some job later time. Okay, yes, this is a good question. Thank you, Tatiana. You can change your mind. You can do things differently based on, as I say, life is what happens while you're making other plans. So here's what you do. So you're 61. If you're eligible for survivor benefits, go for it, if that's what you want to do. And then let's say, you can still work, make under, for next year, the number is $24,480. As long as you stay under that amount, you can still continue to collect your survivor benefits, okay? But what if your boss says, oh, Tatiana, you are so awesome. I got to have you here full time, so I want to pay you $80,000 a year. No problem. Don't refuse it. If that's what you want, call up Social Security and say, yep, situation just changed. I'm not going to make $24,000. I'm not going to stay under $24,480. I'm going to make $80,000 a year, and they will suspend your benefits. Easy, easy, easy. With the low staffing, that might take them a little bit of time, so you might get a check or two checks in the meantime, and then in January, February, March of the next year, they'll send you a nasty gram, and they said, hey, we paid you too much. Give us back that money, because they hold back $1 for every $2 you go over. So just kind of be prepared for that. But yeah, you can change your mind. And then 2 years later, when you turn 64 years old and you don't like the job anymore, or you want to go back to part-time, call up Social Security and say, yep, remember I was making $80,000 last year? Well, I stopped that. This year I'm going to stay under the $24,000, $25,000, $26,000, whatever it is. And they restart your benefits. Easy, easy, easy. Problem is getting in and talking to them. But anyway, don't worry, everyone. Those tariffs are going to save us. Plus, we're getting a bonus. Yeah, we're paying ourselves a bonus. As stealing money out of our right pocket and putting in our left pocket. And then, we're taking $1 out of our right pocket and supposedly giving us 3 cents on our left pocket and saying, ooh, look at all the bonus we got. Yeah. And we're not even getting the 3 cents on the other side. So, I am a day trader. Is that considered earned income? Do I have to stay under $2,000 a month to avoid like a W-2 wage earner? It really depends. if you're a professional day trader and that's your company and that's your job and it's your business and you file as the net income for business, then that's your net income from business. But if under most circumstances, no, it's not considered earned income. You're just an investor and, you know, a day trader. So it's not considered earned income unless you're a stockbroker and this is your job, is to be, all that. It's called sarcasm, Ella. Yeah, I knew that was sarcasm. Yes. Get 70 to 80 calls a day about Medicare promising a card for over 1,000. They're still doing that. Yeah, that's one of the reasons my son and I, reached out to Chapter. We looked for a place, a reputable place that's not going to do all that BS, and is going to help you for throughout the year. Because it's those people that do that can lose their license, their ability to sell Medicare plans. Because in order for them to call you, they have to get your permission. If you didn't give that person or that the company that person works for permission to call you, they're not supposed to call you. They can lose their license. So call up whoever, Medicare, whoever, and report them. So for instance, here's how it's supposed to happen. If we got, let's say, Bonnie or Kathy or Christine or whatever, types a little message or sends me an email and says, Ed, have Chapter call me. Yeah, I wouldn't tell Chapter to call you. And if I did, the guys at Chapter, the guys and gals at Chapter would laugh at me. Ed, you can't do that. You have to call them first. You call them first. And right now they're crazy busy. So let's say you call them first and you're not able to get in. And you come here and you say, Ed, I'm having a hard time getting in. Can you help me out? Sure, I can help you out. No problem. Email me at ed@mygovexpert.com. Make sure you include your phone number because I will forward it to the people over at Chapter and I'll say, hey guys, one of my awesome viewers that helps people out needs help. And she called a few times and, wasn't able to get through. Can you call her? They will look at your phone number on their system. And if they can confirm that you called them first, they can call you back. But sometimes people send me that email and says, hey, Ed, I called them. Here's my phone number. And then Ari or someone calls me back and says, Ed, yeah, we can't find the phone number, so we can't call them. So do us a favor, email that person back, tell them to call one more time and to record the phone number. Sometimes people have they've got those hidden phone numbers and stuff like that. That's why they can't find them. So it makes it even more difficult. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Yes, happy Thanksgiving. Getting close, aren't we? All right, we've got some other video questions.
Don't compromise quality insurance for savings or your time for this ad. Hit that skip button, or don't, and watch me.
Hey Ed, Cedric Ward here again. I went online a couple days ago to apply for SSI. They could not find my records. Went through all kinds of crap with a gal. She says, your records will be ready in 48 hours. That was Friday. I just went through the whole online thing again. They can't find my records. It's all to do with having changed to a new address, which they now have. It's just impossible. I wanted to call the local office, and the wait was going to be 60 minutes. At the main Social Security number, it was going to be 2 hours. This is ridiculous. So I'm eligible for SSI with disability and age. What do you think about getting my records fixed over?
Okay, yeah. So so you called the 800 number. So they look in the system, and your change of address has no relevance whatsoever necessarily. This young man is RVing it out there, and so moves around quite a bit. But yeah, because it's under your Social Security number. So if you filed for SSI, the issue is yeah, you can't really file for SSI online fully. They've added that application online, then they took it down, they added it again, and so yeah, but it's kind of in between, because there's SSI, Supplemental Security Income, the welfare-based program. It's a pretty complicated system. But yeah, the person at the 800 number just couldn't see. They saw your application. They just don't know where it's at, because what's happening is if you file something online, historically, with like my office, other offices during that time, it would go to the local office. But your local office might not have anybody that works that particular program in your local office. They might work, retirement benefits or survivor benefits, but there might not be any SSI people or vice versa in there. So what they might have done is we kind of workload mobility, where they're finding another office to address that. So if you do something online and you call them up immediately and you say, hey, what's going on with it? The person will say, well, yeah, sorry. They're looking for a home for that application. They're looking for someone that wasn't fired by Elon Musk and Doge, that has some time to work on your case. So they've got it. Probably if you called your local office, they would have they'd immediately be able to tell you where it is and who's addressing it. But you did file, you did get it in November. That's the important thing. So you're protected for this month. And I would just, make sure you follow up the first of the week. I would call like next Wednesday or Thursday afternoon, your local office. And it's long wait times, but, and then say, hey, I'm sure you got my application, or if you, farmed it out to another local office or whatever, just let me know who the CS is, the customers, the claim specialist is, so I can reach out to them and, add anything else, particularly because you're RV in it. SSI is really, it's a federal program, but SSI, there's some state differences there, that some states give you a little bit extra money and stuff. So, I would definitely reach out to them like next Wednesday or Thursday and follow up on it. But it is out there.
Hello,
Your upgrade is ready, Miss Langley.
My upgrade?
Yes, enjoy.
See y'all later.
Enjoy a $500 credit for stays with the edit. Chase Sapphire Reserve.
Home is where memories begin. You don't need a lot to make memorable moments. Just time, love.
Hello, I'm 62 and I am on disability and I'm divorced. I was married for 23 years. I would like to know if I can draw on my ex-husband's Social Security with my disability. He's 64 and he is not on disability yet. And I'm wondering if that's a possibility.
Yeah, I did this video yesterday about all those people. You're in group 3 from yesterday's disability video. That's basically people that are receiving disability benefits and they turn 60 years old. And so if they're eligible for survivor benefits, yes, being on disability does not prevent you from receiving other benefits. So one offsets the other. You won't receive 2 full checks. One offsets the other. But if that person is 64 years old and not receiving, you said disability, but not receiving retirement or anything, then you can get benefits possibly based on, it's called independently entitled divorced spouse benefits, IEDS. I know it's a mouthful. So you just had to be married to the person for 10 years, which sounds like no issue. And you have to be divorced from that person for 2 years. That's only for the independently entitled divorced spouse benefits. So you're divorced for 2 years, you were married 10 years, and your benefit amount, your full benefit amount you're receiving from disability has to be less than half of his full benefit amount. If that's the case, you're going to get some extra money. So if you're no longer married. IEDS. And a lot of because the really expert people in the Social Security offices were let go by Elon Musk and Doge. So they're having a hard time, with Social Security employees there. So if you call up and say, I want to file for IEDS. And if they tell you, no, you can't because he has to be receiving benefits, you tell them, no, that's 100% incorrect. It's called IEDS. You're just talking to a person that picks up the phone. And so you need to speak to a Title II CS, Title II of the Social Security Act, which I was before. All right. Someone said they called Chapter and they only directed me to you. I guess they wasn't open. Yeah, if you call Chapter, in this phone number there, because a lot of people we're calling them and asking Social Security questions. And I told them, as I tell everybody on social media out there, if you didn't work for Social Security for a few decades and you haven't done this hundreds of thousands of times, stop giving out Social Security information, because there's so many exceptions, the exceptions. Please stop it out there, giving out so much incorrect information. Sometimes a channel makes a video and it's incorrect, and I reach out to them and say, yeah, what you said is incorrect. People are going to lose money. And there's one channel that said, oh, okay, thanks, and they took it down. Other channels said, no, I'm getting a lot of views on this one. So, oh man. But yeah, I told Chapter, do not answer Social Security questions. So if you call them up about anything other than Medicare plans, you call them up about survivor benefits or disability benefits or retirement benefits, they're going to say, yeah, talk to Ed, which exactly what I want them to do. So, all right. Last question here.
I just noticed that I had an IRMA on my Social Security Medicare. How can I get rid of that IRMA? Thank you.
Yep. That would be SSA 44, same as the previous caller there. So has to be a qualifying life-changing event that since 2 years ago, you stopped work, you reduced your work, whatever. A lot of people get those because they sold a house. And unfortunately, Congress did not make that exception about a house sale. You made a bunch of capital gains on sale of a house. So unfortunately, that's not a life-changing event. I think they should, but anyway, so. All right, we are way over an hour. I apologize, but I will be back again tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow. I'll be off on Thanksgiving, but I'll be back again tomorrow. We'll come up with the topic of the day, and then I'll answer questions for the rest of the hour. So again, congratulations to our awesome team out there that found $2,000 a month for someone that really, really needed it. Let's do it again. Let's get more of those success stories. We want more of those success stories. So let's go out there and help as many people as we possibly can. Y'all take care and have a beautiful, beautiful day. And please.
With less burning, itching, and pain from moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, imagine being 1,000,000 miles away.
Hello, I'm 62 and I am on disability and